stations.
This is CBS.
Here back, live in Atlantic City, and for the ring introductions, let's go up to ring announcer Marvin Goldberg.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. From the world-famous Harrah's Marina Hotel Casino, welcome to today's scheduled 12-round WBA World Junior Middleweight Championship bout, presented by Dunn King Productions. WBA supervisor is Alberto Sarmiento. The judges are Eva Shane from Fort Lee, New Jersey, Denny Nelson from St. Paul, Minnesota, and Robert Watson from Redford, Michigan. Timekeeper Arthur Spell, and your referee is Tony Perez. Introducing the challenger in the red corner, fighting out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, weighing 153 pounds, with a professional record of 33-10-1, with 25 KOs, the WBA #1 ranked contender and the former IBF Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, Buster the Demon Drayton. And the champion in the blue corner, fighting out of St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands, weighing 153 pounds, with a record of 34-1, 32 by KO. Ladies and gentlemen, the WBA Junior Middleweight Champion of the World, Julian Jackson. 12 rounds.
Julian Jackson from the Virgin Islands, city of St. Thomas, and Buster Drayton from nearby Philadelphia, the combatants, and the referee Tony Perez will bring them to the center of the ring for final instructions. Perez now living in Barnegat, New Jersey. The judges are Eva Shane from Lodi, New Jersey, Denny Nelson from Redford, Michigan, Robert Watson from Maplewood, Minnesota.
Giving a good clinch fight. I don't know about any one of you, right? Shake hands. Good luck to both of you.
A quick look at the tail of the tape. 35-year-old Buster Drayton. Age could be a factor in any fight for Drayton. So far, it has not affected his performance. He came in at 153. Jackson likewise at 153, and you can see a 1-inch height advantage to the champion Jackson. And a wild right-hand opener from the champion Jackson, going for the home run ball on his first punch, but Drayton ready for it. Champion Jackson in gold, Buster Drayton in black trunks with red trim. No question that Drayton's been in there with the tougher guys. He's lost to some of them, but he does have victories over the likes of Dwayne Thomas, Clint Jackson, Mark Kaler, and Davey Moore. Whereas for Jackson, as we mentioned, really the only semi-name fighter that he has a victory over is Curtis Ramsey. In his biggest fight, he lost to Mike McCallum, trying for the same title when McCallum was the champion. Good body shot from Jackson, banging with the right hand to the midsection. And again,
Tim, Jackson fights strictly by the book. Does everything exactly the way he's supposed to. Drayton fights by his own book, I guess you'd call it. He's liable to do anything in there.
Well, we know that in the loss to Matthew Hilton, when he lost his IBF title to the Canadian, 15 rounds of grueling action, he took a lot of punishment, and he went the distance. So he's a guy who can take a lot of shots, but for how long and the effect over his long career, hard to say. That's part of the mystery of this bout.
Well, he's been down early a couple of times in previous fights, Tim. That's why it's so important to watch these first 2 rounds.
Jackson has had the better of this first round so far.
He's feeding those body punches into Drayton. Pretty good.
And Drayton finally landed one of his own, a good shot to the side of Jackson. And he lands a left hook to the head. Jackson continuing to pound with both hands to the body. Under a minute to go, round number 1. Heavy punching by both fighters. Fortunately, in the last exchange, they both were taking them with the arms and elbows. Under the 30-second mark. Under the 20 we go here in round one. Final seconds of the first round.
I spend 3 to 5 hours
Punching first round. We're into round two, scheduled for 12. The WBA junior middleweight title at stake. The champion in gold, Julian Jackson, his first defense against the former IBF champion at this weight, Buster Drayton.
Tim, you know, this fight may boil down to not who's the better pitcher, but who's the better catcher.
They have held nothing back so far in that first round. Heavy punching by both boxers.
Jackson does everything by the book. Jab, double jab, goes to the body, back up to the head.
And Drayton does what he just did, leaping in
Right.
with one big bomb that nearly caught the champ.
Switches to southpaw. You never know which direction he's coming at you from.
Good work inside by the champion Jackson, snapping back the head of Drayton. Landed an overhand right to the back of the head of Drayton.
There you see.
There goes a right hand. Drayton down. Flash knockdown. Drayton, it looked to me, Joe, was actually pulling out at the moment he took the punch, so he was helping the impact.
He was off balance, Tim. He pulled back his left foot, which is a no-no. But again, Drayton does a lot of no-nos.
He got up smiling, but Jackson pressing the advantage now. And going to the body. Now up to the head. Drayton willing to trade. Looks a little wobbly leg. Standing there and pounding. Jackson trying to find an opening now.
Good-looking fighter, Jackson, but he better not forget defense, Tim.
Uppercut to the point of the chin. Under a minute to go, round two. And Drayton comes back with 3 shots of his own. Wild roundhouse punches, but he scored 3 of them.
Well, you have to be very, very careful when you're fighting Buster Drayton. Beautiful combination by Jackson.
Under the 30-second mark in round two. Both fighters missing in that exchange. Now Drayton lands a left uppercut. More bomb throwing as we finish round number 2.
Were you surprised?
Surprised at turn 40? No.
I meant the party. The pizza.
The heartburn.
Here's a look at that flash knockdown in round 2 scored by the champion Jackson. You saw the challenger Drayton backing up off balance, down he went. But at the end of that round, Gil, he looked like the stronger guy, and he was really looking right into Jackson's eyes and saying, hey, now I'm ready, you woke me up.
Tim, that's why when you fight Buster Drayton, you got to remember that he can always hit you back. The best thing to do is keep your hands up, box, try to put those rounds in the bank.
He couldn't wait to get off the stool to start round number 3. Drayton in black, the champion in gold, Julian Jackson from St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, Drayton from Philadelphia. They've been throwing bombs from the opening bell.
That Jackson throws vicious punches to the body.
Jackson making his first title defense. Drayton has been in 4 world title bouts. In 1986, he won the IBF crown from Carlos Santos, a tough 15 rounds. Defended it twice and then lost in 15 to Matthew Hilton.
There's one of those swings of Drayton that you have to be careful of, Tim. It air-conditioned the house, but if it landed, watch out. Come from any angle. That's the best thing to do when you're fighting a Buster Drayton. Keep popping that jab, double the jab. Keep your hands up at all times.
Try to right hand lead and paid for it, Gil, so he didn't hear your instruction.
Keep backing him up. Keep backing him up.
Drayton himself knows he's an unorthodox fighter. Doesn't bother him. He said that bothers the other guy. Under a minute to go, round 3. Heavy punch to the body by Jackson, the champion.
Jackson throws beautiful combinations, Tim. He sure does know how to punch to that body, which could bother a 35-year-old guy a lot.
Yeah. Under the 30-second mark we go. Tremendously grueling rounds these have been.
What punishment Drayton is taking, Tim.
Big round for Jackson here, this last 30 seconds particularly.
And Drayton is still firing back.
Oh, a big left hand. Oh, a tremendous left hand.
Hook, Tim.
Drayton
Right
dropped
on
like
the
a tree. Drayton dropped like a tree. And he is not going to make it up. That's all over. He's trying desperately. Buster Drayton gamely trying to get up with a huge left hand for Julian Jackson. A third round knockout in his first defense of the WBA junior middleweight crown.
And Tim, what an exciting fighter this Julian Jackson is. He lets it all hang out. Those beautiful combinations.
A game Buster Drayton tried to get up from that. You don't too often see a boxer knocked down the way he was. It looked like somebody had just felled a huge, giant redwood tree.
Well, Tim, all those body shots took care of the body shots, and that big left hook to the chin.
There you see Drayton saying, hey, I'm all right. Let's go back and see it again. A straight, good, solid left hook.
Jackson is pointing at the canvas, say, okay, good night.
There it is. Look at the fall.
And look at Jackson's right hand, Tim, telling him where to fall.
Fortunately for Buster Drayton, and I watched very carefully from our eye level of ringside, it may have appeared that he banged his head on the ring, but actually he did not. He instinctively lifted his head, took the impact with his shoulders, and so apparently he is all right, and we certainly hope so. We'll be back live in Atlantic City in a moment.
Every day, Jack Taylor and
In Atlantic City, where Julian Jackson has scored a stunning third round knockout victory over Buster Drayton. Let's go to Marvin Goldberg.
The time, 2 minutes and 57 seconds of the third round. The winner and still the WBA junior middleweight champion of the world, Julian Jackson.
All right, we're with the champion, Julian Jackson, and who's your supporter here?
This is my little son, Julian Jackson Jr.
All right, Julian Jackson Jr.
All the way from the Virgin Islands.
I don't think he knows exactly what happened, but he knows something good happened here today for Daddy. Julian, a big thing with you was recognizing the fact that as a champion, you weren't really very well known. You haven't had a lot of exposure on national television, and your only real name opponent prior to this one was Mike McCallum. Did that bother you, and did you want to really be impressive today?
Oh, yes, man. It didn't bother me, but I knew I had to be impressive today. I knew that Buster Drayton was a strong opponent, and I trained very hard for this guy. I didn't take him for granted. I wanted to know I love him, and we are brothers in Jesus' name, man.
Come on in here, Buster. Come on in here.
All right.
Buster, I'm glad you're all right. You really went down like a tree, I said, but I noticed that you didn't bang your head. You instinctively got your head up. You had a flash knockdown earlier in the fight. What happened on the big left hook? Let's take a look at the knockdown.
I don't know. Well, I knew he liked to throw the left hook, but I was so relaxed, you know, like with Matthew Hooks, you know. I got a habit of being relaxed, you know. Hey, but you know what I like to say? I like to tell all the little kids that don't be disappointed at me because I gave them all in all. Hey, look.
Well, here's the knockout punch. Julian, was a good, clean left hook.
Yes, we know that Buster Drayton was looking for the right hand, and a lot of fighters don't know that I have power in both hands.
Well, Buster knows it now, but he's already shown what a great sport he is. To have you two guys here together, it's always a good example of boxing sportsmanship.
I don't got no excuses or nothing like that there. The man got me, you know, just like if I would have caught him, you know, it would have been the same thing, no excuse.
Well, you nearly did too. Thanks, Buster. Julian Jackson.
Before I go, you know, I'd like to say hi to all my folks home, my friends in the Virgin Island boat, St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John. I would like to meet the current champion, Donald Corey, or Matthew Hilton, any one of them. Van Horn, and bring all of them. Get in line because Julian Jackson is ready, and I'm ready to put St. Thomas, Virgin Islands, St. Croix, St. John on the map.
I think maybe you just did, and I think there'll be a big welcome for you when you get home.
All right, thank you very much.
Julian Jackson, the world champion, WBA junior middleweight champion.
For the outcome of this fight, that a lot of people who are in boxing think it's an excellent fight, and that whoever wins will be recognized by everyone as the second best heavyweight in the world. Will you recognize him?
Yes, you have to kind of recognize whoever wins. Reason why they don't really recognize Mike Weaver because he only fought twice in 2 years that he held the title. Mike Weaver's an inactive champion, and he should get out and fight more. And this could be a factor tonight. If he didn't demonstrate his boxing skills earlier, he might have been able to be the favorite coming into this fight.
Thanks, Larry, and now back to Barry.
Okay, thank you, Larry and Larry, and now it's Barry and Ray, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the ring. And I think perhaps, Ray, the biggest question of this fight is Mike Weaver's ability to come back after having only really one fight in 25 months, a very difficult thing.
Well, as I always say, Barry, inactivity is a factor always, but with a guy like Mike Weaver, his physique, I mean, this guy is physically strong, so that could be a factor also against Michael Dokes.
All right, right now, let's go up to the ring announcer, Chuck Hall, for the introductions of the two fighters.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Caesar's Palace Sports Pavilion, where tonight Don King Productions, in association with Caesar's Palace, presents World Championship Boxing. These bouts are sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Sid Rogich, Chairman, Roy Tennyson, Executive Secretary. The commissioners in attendance are Mr. Art Lurie, Mr. Ed Brown, Mr. Sammy Macias, and Mr. Bob Fremoyle. The matchmaker is Mickey Davies. The officials assigned for the main event of the evening by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. The judges are Jerry Roth, Carol Polis, and Mike Kliena. The timekeeper is Al Bisick, counting the knockdowns, Jane Broadfoot. The attending physicians at ringside, Dr. Donald Romeo and Dr. Flip Hermansky. The referee is Joey Curtis. This is the main event of the evening. 15 rounds of boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing in the blue corner, fighting out of Akron, Ohio, weighing in at 216 pounds, he is the #1 ranked contender by both the WBC and the WBA, introducing Michael Dynamite Dokes.
Take a look at Michael Dokes' record. He has no losses, 14 knockouts, and we'll elaborate on that a little more.
Weighing at 209 3/4 pounds, he is the WBA Heavyweight Champion of the World. Here is Mike Weaver. 15 rounds of boxing.
There is the record of Mike Weaver, 9 losses, not indicative of his most recent performances, 16 knockouts, and a body that many people say his hair has muscles.
He has muscles in places where other people don't have places.
Larry, I do want to ask you, even though it is perhaps the rhetorical, Michael Dokes' nickname Dynamite, is he in fact dynamite? Can the man punch?
Well, among big men, if you touch a man coming in and you're 215 pounds, obviously you can knock him out, but he's not noted as a puncher.
Well, let's take a look at how these two match up. Weaver, of course, 6 years the senior of Michael Dokes. Dokes has a couple inches on Weaver. It's hard to imagine with a body like Mike Weaver has that Dokes is actually the bigger man, and yet there he is, the bigger of the two fighters. Dokes has grown a great deal just over the last couple of years. He is not want for confidence, that to be sure.
In a sense, he's like Muhammad Ali in that he's a boxer and that he's been in the ring since he's a youngster. whereas Weaver has come very late to boxing.
And the pace starts very quickly, and that is what we expected. I know it's what you expected, Wayne. Good shot by Weaver.
I was not surprised at all, Bud, because I figured Dokes would come out fast because Weaver here is cold. No preparation.
And he is hurt. There's no question about it, he's hurt.
Well, he came out once again dry. There was no perspiration was made. He didn't warm up in the back.
Dokes is right on, and Weaver covers up. This is the first round. Dokes hammers him with both hands. And Weaver's holding on the ropes in deep trouble.
Weaver's the clear.
Dokes is just measuring his man. And a left hand scores. Joey Curtis separates the two. And that's it. Just like that, this one is over. Joey Curtis a little bit quick, I think, Ray.
Well, Weaver still has insistence. I mean, he still was up. He was hit by a lot of good shots.
It took 1 minute and 3 seconds.
Something seems to be wrong with Michael Dokes.
Dokes jumped up and down, fell on the canvas, and now everybody is surrounding the winner, who is down. A bizarre first round, a bizarre fight for the WBA version of the heavyweight championship. Dokes is still down. Whether it's out of just the emotion of having won or whether he hurt himself when he fell down, I don't know.
Well, I expect an 8 count at least for them to give Weaver another chance.
Well, there's no question but that Weaver was hurt, but there's a very serious question as to whether or not this fight should have been stopped. Michael Dokes is up and continues to dance, so he apparently is all right. And there you see a very happy winner. I think the only way to describe it is bizarre. We've seen some strange things. And now the fight goes on in the ring. And there's an absolute brawl in the ring here. It is Weaver's camp and Dokes' camp. And there's utter chaos in the ring. And the crowd is saying it all. Larry Holmes, you saw it just like Ray and I. What did you see?
I don't think they should have got him. Michael Dokes did what I thought he would do, jump on my nose. He did that. But I think the referee acted a little bit too quick there. Because Michael has been a champion and he hasn't been hurt.
Well, it was a very strange ending, and we will get an opportunity to see this. The crowd not liking it all. I have to be honest, I don't blame them.
Well, I have to reevaluate on Larry Holmes here. I mean, Weaver's been in some heavy brawls. He's been hit, he's been hurt, and he always has a tendency to come back. This fight will stop, I felt, soon, too soon.
I don't think there's any question about that. And particularly if he was going to stop the fight should have been stopped before he actually stopped it. That was when he was hurt. I didn't really think he was too hurt when the fight was stopped.
Well, but he did. Weaver got up, and he still was somewhat dazed, but still, he was okay. He still had his composure.
We're going to have an opportunity to look at this one more time. There's no question that he took some very good shots.
Well, Dokes hopped right on Weaver because Weaver, again, as I said earlier, he went into the ring very cold, no perspiration. In fact, I would almost guarantee he didn't warm up in the back.
It was an outstanding left hand. There's no questioning the punch, and there's no questioning the fact that Michael Dokes just came out and took the fight right to him. And in the ring, there continues to be chaos. Dokes and Weaver talking with one another. Weaver does not appear to be too upset about the whole thing, actually.
Well, I guess the main thing we can do is to have Larry Mercer talk with the referee, Joey Curtis.
I think we're going to have to do that. It took 1 minute and 3 seconds for this one to be history. There is a conversation. Here's the way it all stopped, Ray.
Well, here we have an opportunity to see what exactly took place. Without question, Michael Dokes is dominating this round. And Weaver's in like a little bit of trouble here. But he's coming up, as you can see. He's protecting himself. He's aware of what's going on. Michael Dokes here measuring Mike Weaver and landing some pretty good shots. And Joey Curtis looking on. Then all of a sudden, what happens? he stops the fight.
Well, I think I absolutely agree with what you said and what Larry Holmes said also. The man was hurt, there's no question about it, but this is the first round of a 15-round championship fight. Both men, at least in theory, are in superb condition. I can understand stopping the fight if it were late in the fight where a man might be tired, but in this case, I really would have to think it was very much of an overreaction, and perhaps an overreaction to some of the things that have been going on in boxing. Right now, let's go up to Larry Merchant, who's with Joey Curtis. We will try to get an explanation. Larry?
Thank you, Barry. Barry, I'm here with Mr. Curtis, the official, the referee who stopped the fight. Why did you stop the fight?
I stopped the fight because he was taking several punches to the head and to the body. When I stopped in there after the knockdown, I asked him if he was all right. He didn't answer me correctly, but I still let the fight go a little bit more. He continually still to take punches to the head and to the body. I figured that he had enough, and I stopped the fight.
You have a reputation of allowing fights to go on. Has the recent furor over the death of the Korean fighter right here in Caesar's Palace had any influence on you stopping this fight?
Didn't make my decision at all. Like I said before, he was taking several punches to the head and several punches to the body. When I gave him the count, I didn't like the way he answered me, and that's why I let him go a little further, and that's why I stopped him the second time.
To an eye of a ringsider, even though he wasn't returning any fire, he still seemed to have his faculties.
Not to me when I gave him the count. He didn't look like he had the count after the 8 count.
Thank you very much, and back to ringside.
Okay, so there you have an explanation from Joey Curtis. Now, I don't know. Let me ask both of you. First of all, Larry Holmes, do you buy that explanation?
Mike Weaver is a champion. Therefore, I think he should have been allowed the opportunity to defend himself. He didn't look hurt to me at all. And I just think the referee should go to school and learn something about boxing if he's going to continue to be a boxing referee.
No punches pulled there. Let me ask you, Ray, honest opinion.
Well, but I had a chance to voice my opinion. I'm on the outside as a spectator, as a commentator, and I respect Joey Curtis' decision. I mean, he's in the ring. If he said something to Mike Weaver and there was no response, I guess quite naturally he had a reason to, but I mean, I think there will always be some type of controversy involved in this fight.
I would have liked to know exactly what Mike Weaver did say to Joey Curtis. Now, he said he didn't get the proper response. I take it the proper response is, no, I'm not hurt.
Well, again, I mean, when a ref has a tendency to stop a fight or give a guy an 8 count, what he wants the guy to do, and Larry Holmes agreed with me, put your hands up. And Weaver had his hands up.
Larry Holmes, you were in the same ring with Mike Weaver. Mike Weaver knocked you down. I would have to say, just of what I saw, you were more hurt than Mike Weaver was just now, and yet this fight was stopped and yours went on, and of course you're still a champion.
Well, that's the difference. These guys now, since the death of Buku Kim, I think they're overreacting. To changing the rules into a 12-round boxing heavyweight championship, minute and a half rest period, I think this is ridiculous. I think boxing is going out the world boxing, and I just got to say I'm kind of glad that I'm getting out of this game.
I think, Ray, the same thing could be said of you. Your fight with Tommy Hearns. Hearns really stung you. That was the kind of situation. He could have stepped in and said, that's it, no more.
Oh, yes, and in fact, Barry, everyone's opinionated. Now, I think, again, we should get a chance to talk with Mike Weaver.
We're going to try to get an explanation here, a further explanation from Chuck Hall. Interesting point here. The official time is 1:03, and Chuck Hall, who is the ring announcer, and you might have overheard through this microphone, that they have decided, the commission has decided not to announce the winner as Michael Dokes because they are afraid, because of the hostility that's going on all around here and the consternation of the crowd here at Caesar's Palace, that it would incite a riot.
I would agree, because the feeling sound, the electricity here is negative all the way, and it would be the wrong thing for them to announce a decision.
Okay, let's go up now to Larry Merchant, who is with the winner, Michael Dokes, and this is not to take anything away from Michael Dokes. Larry, you got it.
He didn't come in complaining. All right, Michael, first tell us, why did you come out punching the way you did?
Well, first of all, I'd like to give thanks to the Creator for giving me my opportunity. Mr. Don King, Henrietta, my mother, moms in Florida, and all the people in Akron, and Fort Lauderdale that gave me so much support and so much cosmic energy tonight. The reason why I jumped out on him so early in the fight, because he looked like he was cold. He wasn't sweltering at all. He's a very slow starter, and I wanted to instill the fear of God in him from bell one.
If the fight had gone on for a distance, you feel that he would have been afraid to chase you too hard?
I think he would have been intimidated. After the first left hook, he said he didn't even see it. He told me that himself. And all the viewers that don't believe that it was a true knockout, he told me himself that I caught him first, and he just didn't see it, and he couldn't recuperate.
Although he still seemed to have his faculties. He still seemed to have his faculties when the fight was stopped. Were you surprised in a heavyweight championship fight that it was stopped at that
If
time?
you notice, when he came over to me, they was carrying him. He was still stumbling. He wasn't coherent. I don't think he had his full recuperative powers at that point. So, you know, it's not up to me. It was up to the referee. He stopped it. I did. I was willing to keep on punching as long as he was willing to sustain.
When a fight ends that quickly, do you feel that somehow it takes something away from it, that people are going to say he's not a good fighter, or in fact that he wasn't the favorite of the promoter?
Well, you know, I'm not going to get into this trend. Wait a minute. I'm not going to get into this trend that so many of the critics and the television people have pulled fighters into, the Muhammad Ali's. You don't feel that you've been approved yet by the public. You're incompetent. You're not a formidable foe. To me, it's up to the referee. It didn't take nothing for me. I get paid the same for 30 seconds as I do for 30 rounds. So, you know, I still feel that I'm competent to deal with anybody, and it is not incumbent for me to go the distance.
You fell to the floor in almost disbelief and joy when it was all over.
Let me correct you. It wasn't disbelief. It was jubilation and total sure elatement for all the trials and traumas and tribulations that I've, endured for the last 12 years of my career.
What do you see as your future now? Do you want to fight Larry Holmes regardless of what he does?
What I see for the future is relaxation. I've been in this for 5 or 6 months. Nothing but enjoying myself, getting back with my family, my loved ones at heart, going back to my home, enjoying some of the other fine things in life other than boxing. I'm going to leave that up to my promoter, Mr. King, my manager, Carl King, my trainer, and all other people that's totally involved.
Thank you very much, Michael. And now back to ringside.
Okay, thank you. Larry Merchant and the winner, Michael Dokes. Larry will now try to make his way over to talk with Mike Weaver, and we, in the meantime, I don't want to take anything away from Michael Dokes about all this. I mean, there's no question he was the aggressor, and just based on the minute and 3 seconds that we saw, he was in complete control and probably would have won the fight. So this by no means, I don't think, takes away from his victory. It's just the way it really all came about.
Well, you can't take it away from Michael Dokes. I mean, he did what he intended to do, and that was to take the title away from Mike Weaver. As I stated earlier, the fact that Weaver, he came in with no perspiration whatsoever. He started out cold. Dokes did the right thing, jumped right on top of him, and started to dominate. So, I mean, you have to respect and appreciate Dokes' performance, yet it's unfortunate of the bizarre ending.
Okay, right now, Larry Merchant is with Mike Weaver. Let's go to Larry Merchant. He is with Mike Weaver right now. Larry, he is not with him yet. We'll talk here for just a moment while we get the facility squared away here, and we will be talking to Mike Weaver in just one moment. The fact is, and I do want to get in with you, Larry Holmes, to talk a little bit about what the future of this division is right now while we wait to talk with Mike Weaver. Let's go now to Larry Merchant, and we'll come back and talk about what's going on in the heavyweight division. Larry, you've got it.
Okay, now with the former heavyweight champion, Mike Weaver, what happened?
Well, Dokes knew I was slow starter, and I expect him to come out fast like he did. And he knew I was slow started. He hit me with a punch, knocked me down. I wasn't hurt. I mean, I don't know why the referee stopped the fight. I mean, I don't know why.
Do you think that all of the furor recently because of the death of the fighter here somehow affected the referee's decision?
I think so. I mean, because I saw the referee many fights before this particular referee. He never stopped the fight before. And Michael Dokes knocked me down. He come with a good left hook. Not that I was hurt. I wasn't hurt. It just called me cold. And
why weren't you throwing punches at the end? Why were you just with your back to the ropes?
Well, I'm a slow starter. I had to face that. I'm a slow starter. Dokes knew that. And
you felt the fight could go on, that you had control of your faculties?
I was not hurt. I knew I was not hurt. I mean, God knew I wasn't hurt, but it was a championship fight. I was the champion of the world. I mean, I feel that they shouldn't stop the fight. I mean, but
do you feel, many of your supporters feel that because Don King is the backer of Michael Dokes, that's why this happened. Do you have those kind of bitter feelings?
I had to tell you the truth. I do feel that's the reason, because I know that everybody was against me. I feel that the WBA was against me also. 'Cause I know Don King has made friends with the WBA. It was all against me. My back against the rope and Dokes was throwing punches. Like I said, he hit me with a good left hook. He knocked me down. I was not hurt. I mean,
you seem very, very hurt now.
I'm very hurt now. There's nothing I can do about it. I mean, the loss is a loss. I lost the title. All I have to do now is hope that I have another chance to come back.
Let's take a look at what happened here if we can, because you did land a couple of punches in there yourself.
Right,
There's the left hook that got you down.
Yes, he caught me with a good left hook. I will not get a point.
There it is again, the same thing.
It was a good left hook that knocked me down, but I got up immediately, and all I tried to do was, just let Dokes punch himself out. I mean, but there's nothing I could do about it.
Michael, thank you very, very much, and as you may hear, the fans in the background agree with Michael Dokes. Back to ringside.
Okay, thank you very much, Larry Merchant. One question before we wrap up this fight to Larry Holmes. What now is the future of the heavyweight division? Are you going to go after, or I should say, Michael Dokes? Is he going to come to you? What's Weaver's future? What is going on in the division exactly? You talk about not fighting anymore. When really will you stop fighting?
Well, Larry, I don't really know exactly when I'm going to stop fighting. But I tell you this, if I do continue to fight, Michael Dokes do not want to bother Larry Holmes right now. I think when Larry Holmes retired from boxing, the heavyweight division, the championship will jump from one contender to the next contender. There will be no control over the heavyweight division because nobody really knows who's going to be champion for a long time.
If Don King came to you and said, I want you to fight Michael Dokes, what would you do?
Well, that's something that I will have to think about. Michael Dokes is a fighter. He is a contender as far as I'm concerned, and I fight all contenders. But right now, my plans are something different. Don King don't predict or control my life. I do what I got to do to earn a living, to make a living. And whatever I feel like doing at that time, I do. But as far as fighting Michael Dokes right now, I think it would be a conflict of interest. As far as the public concerned, Michael Dokes beat me, then it's a fix. If I beat Michael Dokes while he's young, he's still got to come back. So I'm not really worried about that. I'm just worried about keeping my faculties intact and keep doing what I got to do to survive. In boxing, I don't have to do that anymore.
I don't think there's any question about one final thing, and that is that Larry Holmes right now is the king of the heavyweight division.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of the world.
Ray, I don't think there's any question about that, do you?
Oh, no, without problem. Boxing now is Larry Holmes.
All right, so I wish we could say that this was a great fight. It was not a great fight. Mike Weaver is the man who is being right now carried around the ring and holding his fist in the air triumphantly. However, he is not the champion anymore. Michael Dokes is. Whether that was just or not remains to be seen. It'll be speculated about. We'll find out where Michael Dokes goes from here, who he beats.
In Scotland, Jim Watt is a hero. He's a national idol. And even it has bled over so much that even down here in London, he is a national idol.
Here comes Alexis Arguello in, and Gil, if you were handling him tonight, what would you be telling him about the crowd?
Tim, I'd tell him to go all out from that first round. He's got to get this guy out of there, I think, to win the fight.
Alexis Arguello, the challenger, began fighting at the age of 16 in his hometown of Managua, Nicaragua. He has moved to the United States since the Sandinista Revolution in his home country. He was a supporter of the revolution until they came into power and then took over his $300,000 home, and he decided he would move to the United States with his family. But he is still very much a Nicaraguan. And indeed, this fight is being televised back to Nicaragua tonight, and there is a contingent of Nicaraguan fans in attendance. And then the flag has been brought in for Alexis Arguello, who is still very much a proud citizen of Nicaragua, although he does intend to become now a citizen of the United States. The crowd roar, of course, is for the champion, and Scottish flags start to wave at Wembley Arena as they have seen the appearance of Jim Watt from his dressing room to our left. The champion, Jim Watt, his 5th title fight. He beat Alfredo Pitalua in April of '79 to win it, has defended successfully 4 times against Robert Vasquez, Charlie Nash of Northern Ireland, Howard Davis of the United States, and the controversial defense against Sean O'Grady in November of 1980, the last time he was in the ring. For Arguello, incredibly, he has had 14 title fights. He has had the WBA Featherweight Championship victory in the 13th round by knockout over Ruben Olivares in November of 1974. He defended that crown successfully 4 times. Then in January of 78, he won the WBC Super Featherweight Championship over Alfredo Escalera and defended that crown 8 times. He is moving up to try for a 3rd title, and here's the man he has to beat, Jim Watt, looking very calm, very confident, and of course getting the crowd with him, which is easy to do here in London, down the road a piece from his hometown of Glasgow, Scotland. Jim Watt, a very engaging, a very bright and articulate young man, as indeed is the challenger, Alexis Arguello, 2 of the nicest young men ever to face each other in combat. And we'll be back for this championship bout after these messages.
I'm Tennis Pro Tracy.
The official photographic consultant to Major League Baseball.
Journey to China for a visit to an unusual drugstore and a look at one of the world's favorite animals on Walter Cronkite's Universe this Tuesday at 8, 7 Central and Mountain.
Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy and Sean O'Grady at ringside. We're about ready to go with this WBC Lightweight Championship fight. Under the WBC scoring rules, the 10-point must system in effect, 9 or less to the loser of a round. The referee is Arthur Mercanti of New York. He will not be a judge. There will be 3 at ringside doing the scoring. Robert Degain from Charleroi, Belgium, Kurt Oskar Hallbach from West Germany, and Dick Young from Los Angeles, California. They will do the judging in this championship fight. The mandatory 8 count in effect. There is no 3 knockdown rule. The count continues after the bell, except in the final round. And now let's join the ring announcer, Bernard O'Sullivan.
Presenting from Glasgow, the champion, Jim Watt. From Nicaragua and Miami, the challenger, former undefeated Alexis Arguello. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, this match was made of 9 stone 9 pounds, and in the weight of a rough-scaled 9 stone 8 3/4 pounds, Arguello 9 stone 8 1/2 pounds. Your referee.
All right, you hear the ring announcer, Bernard O'Sullivan, announcing the weights. Jim Watt, 134 3/4. Alexis Arguello, 134 1/2 pounds. They have an equal reach of 72 inches, but the height advantage goes to Arguello at 5'10 1/2. Jim Watt at 5'7 1/2. 32-year-old Jim Watt, who will be 33 next month, and 29-year-old Alexis Arguello. And so, Sean O'Grady, this comes the moment for champion and challenger just seconds before the fight. Anticipation is pretty high.
Very high. These fans in Glasgow, as I said in the opening statements, they love their champion, and Jim Watt cherishes his title very, very much, and he will do anything to win that title or to retain that title here today.
All right, Arthur Mercanti has called them to the center of the ring for their instructions. And Gil, how do you see this fight going?
Well, I think it's going to be a very, very tough fight. I think Alexis Arguello is going to get off the mark fast. And the fact that they have 6-ounce gloves could be a big factor because either fighter can bust up with those small gloves.
6-ounce gloves that are made here in England by the Bailey Company. The 19-foot ring here at Wembley Arena, an enthusiastic crowd, largely in support of the champion Watt, who's on the right of your screen in the blue trunks. Arguello on the left of your screen in dark green. And we are underway, round 1 of this championship 15-round fight.
In the opening statements, I talked about Jim Watt breaking up, and what I meant is that when you get up in age, when you get a few years on you, your skin starts to dry out, and you cut much easily when you're up in age than when you're younger. So we should see some blood here tonight. Alexis Arguello is known as a cutter because he spins his hands, and it adds just a little bit more to the punch. He puts that much more into it, and it adds a little bit of cutting action also.
Gil, Sean talking about Arguello's spinning his punches. Perhaps you can elaborate on that.
Well, yeah, a lot of times when a fella, especially when he snaps the jab, he puts a little twist on it at the end, and that can break up your skin, and it can cut a fighter. Now, Arguello said he was going to start fast in this fight. So far, he's been the same deliberate Alexis Arguello that we've seen in most of his recent fights in an early round.
He has been successful against left-handers in the past.
Well, his last fight was with a left-hander, and I don't know how successful he was. He won a very controversial decision over Jose Luis Ramirez, and he was on the deck.
Well, yes, indeed. Ramirez, one of only 2 men to knock him down, and he was a left-hander. But over his career of 70 fights, he has beaten a number of left-handers.
Arguello is a very hard fighter to hit. He makes his opponent miss. The opponent misses and is off balance. Then he comes back with combinations of his own. He's very wise, very, very ring-wise.
I've never seen two better physical specimens than these two guys. I've never seen fighters look in better shape. Neither one has an ounce of fat on them. They look like 2 iron bars in here.
Watching them in the gym, Gil, this past week, it was evident that they were both in superb physical condition, hardly breathing after hard workouts. Less than a minute to go in round number 1. Arguello trained on Lavender Hill here in London, known to American movie fans from the Lavender Hill Mob movie of several years back. Very amusing British movie. In a little gym over a pub up in Lavender Hill, and Jim Watt trained out on the tough East End of London.
This is a very slow first round for these lightweights, but that is typical in boxing because the first round is usually a feel-'em-out round, a round to find out what your opponent's got, and both men are feeling their opponents out.
Less than 30 seconds to go in round number 1, scheduled for 15.
Alexis has landed a few good snapping, probing jabs, Tim, which is an unusual punch to attack the southpaw with, but so far he's been successful with it.
Referee Arthur McKenny doing his usual unobtrusive job. We're in the early going here. We're in the final seconds of round 1.
That's homeowners insurance, the State Farm one.
Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy and Sean O'Grady, the WBA champion Jim Watt in blue on the right of your screen. Alexis Arguello, the challenger, on the left of your screen. Cornermen for these fighters: Watt, managed and trained by Terry Lawless. Edward Roman is the manager of Arguello. He's trained by Cuyo Hernandez of Mexico.
Between rounds, Arguello spent some of the rest time applying rosin to the bottom of his shoes. He's got those leather soles on, which are fastly fading out in boxing. Most of the fighters nowadays are wearing the rubber soles so that they don't need the rosin. Arguello is measuring his opponent now. He's known very well for measuring his opponent, making something work, and then putting something on it.
Up to this moment, Watt hasn't shown any offense at all. He seems to be really respecting Alexis Arguello.
I thought that Watt would use that right jab much more than he has in this fight. I know he did against me. He used it an awful lot.
Well, so far he hasn't shown it, Sean. He's waiting. I don't know what for, but he's waiting.
Got the left hand in there, not a whole lot on it, but it scored. We'd like to alert our stations along the line. There'll be a 30-second station break following this round.
Arguello has been moving himself into good position to throw left hooks either underneath or on the chin, but when he gets over there, he doesn't throw the punch. And that is a very effective punch to attack a southpaw with a good left hook.
And isn't he well known for that? A good left hook?
Yes, he is, but he got in position again, doesn't let the hook go.
A very tentative beginning by both the champion and the challenger. Under a minute to go, round 2.
So much for dressing room information, Tim.
Right.
They told us they were both going to start out like whirlwinds.
Well, you trainers are not known for your honesty.
Wait a minute.
Especially when you're talking about your own fighters, let alone someone else's. We're in the second round of this 15-round championship fight. Under 30 seconds to go. The crowd singing for Jim Watt, some Scottish cheers and chants and songs. You'll hear it all the way through this fight.
Arguello's always keeping the pressure on Watt, always trying to cut off the ring, standing right in front of him, making Watt expend himself, making him throw punches.
I still want to see him.
All right, CBS Sports Saturday will continue after this word from your local stations. A good look into the corner of the challenger, Alexis Arguello. You see his trainer, Cuyo Hernandez, working on him, and his second, Oscar Siri.
Tim, I still would like to see Alexis start bending that left knee and throwing those left hooks. Once he does that, I think he can really take charge in this fight.
There's the champion, Jim Watt. And that is on the right of your screen, Terry Lawless, his manager and trainer, and his second, Frank Black. And we're ready to go round number 3. The way we've seen it, Arguello won the first 2 rounds, but neither fighter impressive thus far.
Tim, the reason Arguello won the first 2 rounds by default because Watt simply has not started the fight as yet.
Right hand from Arguello landed.
In the past, Watt has always kept the pressure on his opponent, always been able to overpower his opponent. And in this fight, he hasn't been able to put together a combination. Arguello's been keeping the pressure on the whole fight.
Well, Sean, you mentioned that Watt had a good snapping right jab, which he does possess, but he's not using it at all. He's just pawing with that right hand. He doesn't seem to have any confidence in himself.
And he hasn't been able to throw the left hand at all either. He does have a good straight left hand. There it is. In the past, fighters have been known to throw a lot of right hands against southpaws. And Arguello has used his right hand, but only in a pawing stage. He hasn't used it in a snapping stage.
We're in round 3, scheduled for 15. Sean O'Grady, Gil Clancy, and Tim Ryan. We are live from Wembley Arena in London, England, here on CBS Sports Saturday. First flurry in the middle of the ring, but neither fighter able to land a damaging blow. Of course, the crowd will rise to every punch thrown by Watt, and a good left hand by Arguello, and then a good snapping jab. 2 of them.
Arguello just threw the home run ball, but missed.
Watt has some reddening on his right eye. That is probably from his training routine. I don't think he can get that red this quick in this fight.
Well, you know, Alexis, as we mentioned before, is a pretty stiff puncher, and he can twist that left hand, so maybe that's what did it, Sean.
Right hand lead from Arguello landed. Under a minute to go. Round number 3.
It's hard to say what exactly did that damage to the right eye of Watt. May have been a thumb or the edge of the glove, anything. These men are wearing 6-ounce gloves. That's not typical for the lightweights. They usually wear 8-ounce gloves, except for Britain. Good jab by Arguello.
Sean, you mentioned that 6-ounce gloves business. With 6-ounce gloves, a fighter is much more inclined to get cut because there's not that much padding over the knuckles. That's just about what's happening. You know, in the States now, in these lightweight championship fights, they use 8-ounce gloves. But here in England, 6-ounce gloves.
Yes, sir. They're a much tighter fit to the 8-ounce are.
Final seconds of round number 3. CBS Sports Saturday will continue after this word from your local stations.
This is CBS.
KEPR-TV, Tri-Cities.
We are back awaiting round number 4, and the champion Jim Watt off to a sluggish beginning here as we see him in his corner with manager and trainer Terry Lawless, and one wonders, Gil, what Lawless is saying. It isn't much at the moment.
Well, Watt seems to be fighting. He doesn't seem to have any confidence. What I call it, he's apologizing while he's punching. He's not really putting anything into it, Tim.
Let's see what happens now as we go into round 4. Remember, the scoring is done by 3 judges at ringside. Dick Young of Los Angeles, Kurt Oskar Halbach of West Germany, Robert Deguin of Charleroi, Belgium. Referee Arthur Mercati of New York does not figure in the scoring. Round 4, the challenger in green. On the left of your screen, Alexis Arguello going for his 3rd championship. 3 different weight divisions.
As Mr. Clancy mentioned, Jim Watt does appear to be more content with his defensive skills right now instead of his offensive skills. For the first time in his career, I'm seeing him back up. Well, the second time, really. There's a good combination by Watt. The other time was when he was cut.
There was that left hook underneath in the right hand. That's the combination that Arguello should be using.
It was a good combination, and he got a right hand in right after it as well. Best punches of the fight thus far here in the fourth round.
That straight right hand just a few seconds ago hurt Watt too. He's still feeling the effect of it.
Little blood from the nose of Jim Watt now.
There it is again, the left hook on the right hand on the chin.
Arguello taking charge here in this fourth round. Watt punching tentatively and backing out of there. Never got much on it. Watt continues to look very cautious. After those two combinations, Gil, perhaps rightly so.
You know, Tim, sometimes a fighter feels the other fighter's power. Even if they block a punch, he may have felt Alexis's power even in the first round, and it's made him cautious this way. He has an awful lot of respect for Alexis Arguello.
54 knockouts and 66 victories for Arguello. He is a puncher as well as a fine boxer. Watt jabbing back, but Arguello shrugged it off and landed a combination. Under a minute to go, round 4. Good combination from Watt. His best of the fight thus far. Still not with a lot of stinging power, however. How do you rate him as a hitter, Sean O'Grady?
He doesn't have that much power except with his jab. His right jab is his best weapon, which makes me think that he's actually a right-hander turned southpaw, turned around to the left-handed unorthodox style.
That's a very interesting observation, Sean.
Another thing is that that jab is slow. He uses the jab very slow, but he's very accurate with it. He lands it right on the button every time.
Final seconds now, this fourth round scheduled for 15. The champion Jim Watt, the challenger Alexis Arguello, and the Scottish crowd comes alive in support of their champion.
I'm Johnny Bench.
Here comes Johnny. Saving Pennzoil. Quality in every extra mile.
Round number 5. Tim Ryan, Gil Clancy, WBA champion Sean O'Grady at ringside at Wembley Arena. And so far, the challenger, Alexis Arguello, has been in command. The question of the why of this kind of a start for Jim Watt. He's in comfortable surroundings in London, England. He's fought here many times during his career. He has the support of most of this crowd. But Arguello has taken charge in the early going.
In the last round, we talked about that right jab of Jim Watt and why he isn't using it. There's a good right hand by Arguello. In his last fight with me, in Jim Watt fight October 31st, 1980, Jim Watt broke that right hand. And he may be kind of hesitant to throw it because it has been broke. Arguello has had some hand trouble also with his right hand.
Arguello lost his balance and then let himself fall back into the ropes, and the crowd got a bit of a rise out of it, but he was not hurt at all.
Alex is looking for that big punch now. He's just pawing with his jab instead of snapping it, looking to hit him with that big right hand behind it. That's not what he should be doing. He should be snapping that jab. The other punches will come all by themselves. There he dipped to throw that hook, and he didn't let it go again, Tim. I just don't understand why. He gets a beautiful position.
With Watt essentially a boxer, not a particularly good inside fighter, is he perhaps having some difficulty with the height advantage of Arguello? Watt wants to stay outside, it appears to me. He can't get inside. He doesn't know how to.
I think he's having some trouble because, for one, Arguello is taller than he is, and Arguello is pressing him. Usually, a taller fighter, or a fighter that's good in height, that has a lot of height, that has a lot of reach, he stands back, runs, he's always going backwards. And as I said, in Watt's fights, in his previous fights, he was always the aggressor. And here he's having to back up. He's having to pull away from Arguello.
Under a minute to go in this fifth round. Jim Watt will be 33 years old next month. Arguello, 29, two veteran boxers. The loser of this fight will certainly be a question mark as far as his future is concerned. Less than 30 seconds to go in the 5th round with Arguello on the attack. Some effective counterpunching now by Watt, but Arguello keeps coming. Final seconds of round number 5, live from the Wembley Arena in London, England.
Your razor on radials.
Round number 6, the champion on the right of your screen in blue, the challenger Alexis Arguello in green. Scoring by 3 judges at ringside, one from Belgium, one from West Germany, one from the U.S.
You know, Tim, when I was managing and training fighters, I've traveled all over the world with fighters, South America, Europe, and in different areas they scored differently. For example, in the last round here, Arguello chased Watt, chased him, and landed maybe 4 punches to 1. But the British people, they love to see a fella make the other guy miss and get out of there. That counts more to them than a guy landing effective punches. In America, we like boxers and punches. Down South America, they just like fighters, guys that walk in. So you have to worry about the psychology when you're judging a fight in these different areas. Some people may think Arguello is winning all by himself, but you never know how the officials are looking at a fight.
Exactly. Another thing that might bring up about the last round, right at the end of the round, Watt threw a good combination, landed all 3 punches, and he may have won the round just off that last impression. The last thing the judges see is what he remembers best.
Boy, Sean, you are so right. I've seen many a fighter win 2.5 minutes of a round, get hit with one big bomb just before a round ends, and the judge just remembers that punch.
Exactly, and then the partisan crowd here may have something to do with it.
Beautiful combination by Arguello.
Good uppercut from Arguello. There's a warning here. I'm not sure what for from Arthur McCanny.
I do not know myself. It looked to me like a beautiful combination. Best combination of the fight.
Another left hand landed from Arguello, followed by a right to the body. Watt has been backing up from the opening bell.
And there's some swelling underneath the left eye. So he's got a bruise on his right eye, Watt does, and some swelling underneath the left eye.
Well, there's what I'm talking about, the scoring.
Right.
Arguello's been scoring and scoring. If Watt does anything at all, the crowd goes crazy, and it can affect the judges. They're human beings.
A minute left in this round. Interesting on that point. The president of the WBC, Jose Suleiman, is here. He told his judges in a special meeting before the fight not to be influenced by the crowd in any way, to be objective and to concentrate. He made quite a point of saying, don't be influenced by the crowd. Well, as you say, they're human. Who knows? We'll know when the decision is announced, if indeed it goes to a decision.
Another good point to bring up about scoring, about judging, is that you must give points for the aggressor, because if there wasn't an aggressor, there would not be a fight.
Under 30 seconds to go in round 6. And gentlemen, I don't think we would disagree in that if we were scoring, Arguello has won all 5 of the first rounds.
Well, I have him comfortably ahead, Tim. He's in command in the fight.
Final seconds now of round number 6.
Auto centers, we won't steer you wrong.
Round number 7, Tim Ryan with Sean O'Grady, the WBA lightweight champion, and Gil Clancy. We are live from the Wembley Arena. This championship bout approaching the halfway mark. The champion, Jim Watt. Very cautious starter in this fight. Arguello, the challenger, has been aggressive from the opening bell. He is on the right of your screen in green.
Scored real good early this round, Tim. He landed some good snappy punches early.
We've talked about the crowd here in London being for Watt, but there are some supporters here for Arguello from his home country in Nicaragua. There's probably from 50 to 75 people here with rattlers and trying to intimidate Watt, but the Watt crowd is too much.
There was that combination again, that left hook underneath. I'd like, if he uses that punch more often, I think he'll get Watt out of there.
A little bit of redness around the left eye of Arguello. Doesn't appear to be terribly damaging at this point.
Well, Watt has started to score with that right jab. He started about the middle of last round, and he is jabbing a little more snappy, a little better now.
We are told that the warning from Mercanti was for them to watch their heads. He was afraid that they were starting to make contact with their heads. And that came in the last round, number 6.
You notice Watt is... Oh, there he goes down with a left hook.
Jim Watt with a left hook. It was not a tremendously powerful punch, but it caught him going backwards, and it was a clean knockdown punch, but he is all right. Knockdown scored by the challenger, Arguello.
And that is the left hook that you were talking about, Mr. Clancy. He came right over the jab.
Sean, I always believed in having my fighters use left hooks against southpaws.
Arguello now trying to finish the champion Watt. And now Arguello complaining about Watt getting his head in tight. Complaining to the other fighter. Under a minute to go. Round number 7. Champion has been down.
Arguello was complaining about a clash of the heads, but there was no cut from that clash. It happened on the right side of Arguello's eye, on his right eye. Or on top of the right eye over the eyebrow.
Blood from the nose of Jim Watt. Flowing again.
Oh, he gets in such beautiful position to throw that left hook, Sean, and then he doesn't throw it. He gets the hard part done, which is getting in position, then he doesn't get the easy part done by letting the hand go.
Under 30 seconds to go. There was a warning to Watt for holding behind the head from referee Mercanti. Arguello continues to stalk his man. There seems to be a slight cut on the bridge of the nose of the champion, Watt. Good body blow from Arguello. Final seconds of round number 7.
If you use... When Minolta designed this new camera, they knew... The competition. Wait till you see how good you can be with the Minolta XGM.
Round number 8 of this 15-round championship bout. The challenger, Alexis Arguello, when he got to his corner, we could see a slice on the eyelid of his left eye. There appears to be a slight cut on the bridge of the nose of the champion Watt, but the one to Arguello, Gil, appears to be actually more dangerous.
Yes, it is. It's in a bad spot, Tim. It's on the eyelid. It's a small cut right now, but Watt has been landing that right jab more often in this fight, and if I was Arguello, I'd pull out all the stops and get this fellow out of there. It'd be a tough break to lose a fight on a cut when you're way ahead.
Well, as we see it, he's way ahead, and he scored a knockdown in round number 7. Watt trying to pick away. You can see that right jab now. He's thrown it almost exclusively since the start of this 8th round.
Well, as Sean mentioned, he may be a converted right-hander because that right jab is his best weapon, and it is a pretty stiff punch when he throws it properly.
Alexis is now starting to loosen up and find his reach, find the distance on his opponent, and maybe he's figuring out that left-handed style of Watt. Watt's very awkward, and he comes with that very awkward jab.
Oh, they banged heads again.
Left to the head of Jim Watt as he was backing away from the challenger Arguello.
Got nailed with a good left hook, Tim. It shook him.
There is blood in that little slight cut on the inside of the bridge of the nose of the champion Watt.
Arguello is starting to get the distance now, Sean, as you mentioned. His punches are becoming more effective because he's punching through his target instead of at it.
This landed a long right hand. Left hand back from Watt and a good right jab from Watt. Under a minute to go, round 8.
Oh, they banged heads again.
So far, the cut on the eyelid of Arguello has not been a problem here in this 8th round. When we come back from commercial following this 8th round, we'll show you Arguello's knockdown of Watt that came in round number 7. We've got under 30 seconds to go here in the 8th round. Roundhouse right from Arguello, and it missed.
This is the first round that Watt's been able to put together a decent offense. He's been landing some good punches here.
Final seconds of the round. CBS Sports Saturday continues after this word from your local stations. We are back at Wembley Arena in London, England, awaiting the start of the 9th round. Let's go back to round number 7 and watch for the left hand of Alexis Arguello as he sends the champion to the canvas. A good, sharp left hand. We'll see it one more time.
The champion brings back that left hand kind of low, and when he did, Alexis Arguello shifted his weight over that left foot, came with that left hook.
All right, we are now back in round number 9 underway. Some blood from the nostrils of the champion, Watt.
Well, there's a fighter that went to the corner without a bloody nose and came out with one, Tim.
You're right. Well, it had been bleeding earlier, but maybe his trainer, Terry Lawless, spoke to him a little more physically between rounds. No problem with the cut on the eyelid of the challenger, Arguello, so far. And likewise, they cut on the corner of the bridge of the nose, just inside on the left side of the champion, Watt.
Arguello is thinking past that left hand, which he shouldn't do. He's pouring with that jab instead of snapping that jab, and then he can feint and throw those combinations. But he's got to snap that jab out there too, Tim.
But what he's trying to do with that jab is he's trying to wipe down Jim Watt's jab. He's trying to counteract his jab. The way he's doing that is he's keeping something in the face of Jim Watt. I think it's a smart move to use a jab against the southpaw anytime.
I agree with you, Sean, but you might as well throw a good jab as a sloppy one. Put a little snap in it.
Right hook from Watt landed, and the crowd loved it. They have been in support of their champion all the way along here. Singing, cheering, lively crowds as always in Great Britain. Arguello got the right hand through to the nose of the champion in that last exchange.
Arguello was probably the most patient fighter I've ever seen, Tim. He's always measuring. I'd like to see him a lot more active with those hands. He's got golden hands. He should use them.
Going for his 3rd championship in 3 different weight divisions. Only 5 men had done it before him. Most recently, Wilfred Benitez right here on CBS against Morris Hope, winning the Super Welterweight Championship.
See, there again, Arguello threw a beautiful right-hand lead, but he didn't follow it up with any sort of combination. It's one punch at a time.
Under a minute to go in this 9th round. Scheduled for 15.
Jim Watt is bleeding very badly from his nose. That nose was also broken in my fight, in Jim Watt's last fight in October of last year.
Good, solid left hand from Arguello. Good right hand from Arguello. The challenger on the left of your screen.
That left hook under right hand on the chin. He can land it at will. Or at Jim.
Less than 30 seconds to go in the 9th round.
Watt has got his mouth open. He's breathing through his mouth now. Maybe because of that nose being clogged up with blood.
In the final seconds now, the 9th round. CBS Sports Saturday continues after this word from your local stations.
Of the handicap.
We are back here at ringside, Wembley Arena, London, England, awaiting the 10th round. In the champion's corner, Terry Lawless, working on that nosebleed, which is fairly severe, and as Sean O'Grady pointed out, maybe hampering his breathing.
It's probably hampering his breathing because his mouth is open. Now Jim Watt is breathing through his mouth. His mouth is open, and when your mouth is open, it's a little bit easier to get your jaw broken. You get hit on that hinge, and it just snaps right in two.
Arguello.
It's bleeding again in this round, and the round has just started.
Yeah, they haven't stopped the bleeding in between rounds, Sean, and it could become a breathing factor, and it could make him very, very tired.
Gil Clancy, WBA champion. Sean O'Grady, solid right hand from Arguello.
That was just a little off the button, Tim. I think we would have all went home.
Well, as we see it, Arguello way ahead, but we do caution you, of course, that the judges here at ringside may be seeing it differently. Dick Young from California, Kurt Oscar Halbach from West Germany, Robert Degen from Charleroi, Belgium. Good combination again from the challenger, Arguello. Again, blood from that cut on the inside of the bridge of the nose of Jim Watt on the left side.
And now there's a cut underneath the left eye of Jim Watt. He's had some swelling there in the past few rounds, and now a cut has opened up underneath that eye.
Yes, indeed. And meanwhile, no problem with the cut on the eyelid of Arguello.
That cut underneath the left eye of Jim Watt will not be any problem because it does not impair the vision. It does not hamper the vision of Jim Watt at all. If it was over the eye, the referee might stop the fight. He might call the doctor in, but not underneath the eye.
Sean, if he's having a problem breathing through his nose, he's now going to start to get some blood running down into his mouth, so that could be a breathing problem.
Yes, sir, and he is swallowing the blood from his nose because the nose runs right down the throat. So he is swallowing that blood, and now the blood from his eye is an additional blood.
Arguello is doing what we call a paint job on him now, Tim. He's feinting, and just snapping that left jab out, and he's breaking Watt up just every place he hits him now.
Well, as I have seen this fight, it's really been a sparring session for Arguello right from the start.
Isn't it amazing, though, how those hometown fans, they Watt threw a combination, missed both punches, and they really cheered. They must think that the punches are landing.
Under a minute remaining in round number 10. This is a 15-round WBC lightweight championship fight. We are live from London, England.
Arguello is just a little too much one punch at a time. He's punishing Watt, but he could get him out of there after he lands a big punch if he come back with another combination.
Under 30 seconds to go, round number 10. Right hand landed from Watt, feinting with the left, brought the right one up.
Arguello's actually fighting a very smart fight because he's keeping control. There was a good right hand by Jim Watt. Looked like it staggered Arguello. But Arguello is keeping control right now. He's able to hit his opponent and then get out of the way so there's no retaliation.
We're in the final seconds of round number 10. Blood all over the face now, the champion Watt.
This is a hot generator for camping, hunting, boating, even charging your car battery. Honda. Power when and where you need it.
Round number 11 of this WBC Lightweight Championship fight, the champion Jim Watt. They worked feverishly on those cuts in the corner. The ring physician Adrian Whiteson was summoned in by the referee Arthur McCanty, took a look and said he can continue, but again he is bleeding from the nose early in round 11.
3 solid punches from Arguello caused that bleeding, Tim. They've done a good job on the cut underneath his eye, but his nose is bleeding again.
Arguello just missed with a big right hand. Had knockout spelled all over it.
He has Watt falling for every feint now because he has been hurting him. That makes it a lot easier for Arguello.
Watt is such a smart fighter. In the last round, he came on strong in the last few seconds of the round and could have caught the judge's eye again. He's had a lot of fights, and he's got that time clock, that 3 minutes into his head. And you've got to have that to be a good professional.
Sean, we did mention, the judges remember the last 15 seconds of the round, but they also are influenced by blood. And there was an awful lot of blood on Watt that last round. I doubt very much if they'd give it to Watt.
That's exactly right. The judges see that blood, and the reddening of that blood is a shock to the eye, for one. And they also know that the opponent is hurting the champion, or if the challenger is hurting the champion with those spinning punches.
Arthur McCanty taking a close look at Watt there as he separated the two fighters. We're in round 11. Good defensive work by Watt, ducking away from most of the heavy artillery thrown by Arguello in the last exchange.
Tim, Arthur McCanty's done a wonderful job in this fight. When a referee does a good job, he's a referee that you don't notice. You notice he's moving around. He's never interfering with the action.
Less than a minute to go in round number 11. That is the unobtrusive style we referred to early in the fight on the part of McCanty, a very well-respected, and rightly so, a very well-respected referee throughout the world. Left hand from Arguello.
You know, I'm not as patient as Arguello. If I was in his corner, I'd be saying, what are you waiting for? Let's go home. You're in the other fella's hometown.
these last 4 rounds should be in the advantage of Arguello. He is the younger of the two, but he's up there in age also. He's 29 years old. Watt is 32, and Watt is cut up in these last 4 rounds also.
Under 30 seconds to go.
Alexis, in many a fight, he's gone into the last 4 or 5 rounds even or behind, and he's a great finisher. And if he does the same thing this time, we may not have a finish.
Final seconds of round number 11. Live from London, England. Here on CBS Sports Saturday.
Food, clothes, just about everything.
You're in good hands with Allstate.
Round number 12. The challenger, Alexis Arguello, as we see it, very much in command. But again, who knows how the judges who are doing the scoring are seeing this fight. Sean O'Grady, Gil Clancy thinks Arguello should be going for the kill here.
Well, there was an example, Tim. They just banged heads again. One headbutt can bust you wide open, and you can blow a fight, as Sean O'Grady can tell you. He can testify to that fact.
Sean, do you think Arguello should really be going after him, trying to take him out, or do you think his plan right now is the correct one?
I think he's doing a good job right now. I think he's doing perfect. Because, for one, every time he gets Jim Watt in the corner, just like right there, he can't hit the target. He can't hit the mark because of the awkwardness of Jim Watt. Jim Watt is so awkward, and he uses that jab. He moves very well. Watt is a smart fighter.
Right hand from Arguello off the left hand jab.
If Arguello was landing more, was able to hurt Jim Watt, stun Jim Watt, he has knocked Watt down once, but he still hasn't landed enough for me. I'm thinking that Alexis Arguello is doing a fine job right now.
Only one knockdown of the fight. It came in the 7th round. A left hand from Arguello sending the champion Watt to the canvas.
Watt looks very, very tired to me right now. Even that straight left hand he threw, it had absolutely nothing on it. Powder puff punch.
Right hand from Arguello, snap back the head of the champion. Left uppercut landed from Watt. Left back from Arguello.
Tim, Watt's punches have absolutely nothing on them at all.
Round number 12 of the scheduled 15-round WBC lightweight championship fight. Under a minute to go in round 12. First combination in a while scored by the champion Watt. Arguello right back with a snapping left jab.
Arguello's jabs were more powerful than Watt's straight left hand.
Heavy blood from the nose of the champion Watt again. Under 30 seconds to go on the 12th. Tim Ryan with Sean O'Grady and Gil Clancy. Ringside in the Wembley Arena.
Alexis is trying to get his motor started. He's bouncing up and down on his legs. See if he can't feel him. Get himself going a little faster.
Surprising that neither man has worked an effective body attack. Long fights, that's essential.
We're in the final seconds of round number 12.
What's in our name? At GMC, trucks are what we're all about.
This Bud's for you.
Round number 13. The champion, Jim Watt, as we see it, in great difficulty here, but who knows what the view of the judges at ringside is. The referee, Arthur McCanny, does not figure in the scoring. One knockdown scored by Arguello back in the 7th round. The challenger on the left of your screen in green, the champion in blue.
Again, Jim Watt in this round came out at the first of the round with his nose bleeding. That nose is running right into his mouth, and he's swallowing it.
Tim, we've been talking about what Alexis Arguello should do. What about what Jim Watt should do? He's way behind in the fight. What do you tell him if you're in the corner? You're going to have to say to him, Jim, your championship has gone out the window. Let's go out and take some chances. Try to get this guy out of there. What else can he do? Or just abdicate.
Arguello landed a good right hand and then just scored with a left. Johnny made a good point. They have not been going to the body very much, either fighter.
Watt is going to have to get a good, strong attack here these last few rounds, I have to believe. because as I said, he is way behind in the fight. He's bleeding. His nose is hurt. His eye is hurt. But he may just be trying to go the distance. It's hard to say.
When you're the champion of the world, Sean, as you are, I don't think you'd ever try to go the distance. If you were behind in a fight, I think you'd give it all you have, wouldn't you?
I would, but what about Jim Watt? Right now, he looks to me like he's just trying to survive. He's not attacking. He's not on the attack. He's not throwing punches. He's not mixing up combinations.
Arguello just backed him up with a good right hand.
The left hook is the punch that sets up that right hand, Tim. He can do it all night long. All he has to do is move his head, bend that left knee and hook, and the right hand will come all by itself.
No more blood. Good left hand by Jim Watt. No more blood from that cut underneath the left eye of Jim Watt. Another good left hand. That left hand is real straight, and it comes right on the inside.
All that's going to do is wake Alex up. A couple of those punches from Watt makes him fight a little harder.
Under a minute to go, round 13. Gil Clancy, Sean O'Grady, Tim Ryan. We're at Wembley Arena for this coverage of the WBC Lightweight Championship on CBS Sports Saturday. Big week here in London with Ascot just completed. Wimbledon coming up, and you'll see coverage of the Ascot Gold Cup on CBS Sports Sunday tomorrow. Jack Whitaker on hand to describe it for you. Less than 30 seconds to go in the 13th round. Blood again covering the face of the champion Watt.
Sean, that nose might be broken because they haven't been able to stop the bleeding from the time it started.
Oh, a solid left hand from Arguello. Final seconds of round 13. The crowd exhorting the champion Watt. A right hand from Arguello.
After pipe. New Royal Comfort. If it's a cool smoke you seek, take comfort.
People just can't believe the Sears, the home of the diehard. Now with even more power to start your car than ever before.
Turn the key over and it goes, run.
For the price and power you can count on Sears.
Round number 14 of this 15-round lightweight championship bout. The challenger Arguello on the left of your screen. The champion, as we see it, in desperate straits here late in this fight. Blood from the nose again. They have been unable to stop it for about the last 7 rounds. Arguello very relaxed between rounds. He's hardly been breathing hard.
Sometimes it is possible for a fighter to lull his opponent to sleep. That way you get your opponent to make mistakes, and then you can come in with your combinations.
Well, Jim Watt has scored 30 knockouts in his 41 victories, but is not known, as described by you and everybody else, not known as a real powerful puncher.
Arguello really means business now, Tim. This is his territory, this 14th and 15th round. He's coming after Watt with some pretty good left hooks and right hands.
Watt backing up mainly and then trying to come forward every now and then.
He has no offense, Tim. No offense whatsoever. As Sean pointed out, he's an awkward southpaw. He's tough to hit, but he doesn't have any offense.
Comes forward, he doesn't throw punches. He just moves his feet forward, but without throwing punches. A lot of blood from the nose now. Watt.
Many times a knockout occurs in a fight because in the last few rounds, one fighter tries to put pressure on the other side, on the other fighter. He runs into something unintentionally, and down they go.
Well, Watt's running into plenty now, Sean.
But if he uses a good combination, he may be able to make Arguello run into something.
Sean, I don't think you could make Arguello run into anything if Arguello put his hands on and let him hit him. He doesn't have it anymore. Nothing left.
Under a minute to go. Round 14. Did you agree, Sean?
I agree with him, but I'm just trying to think. There you go. Good right hand or left hand.
All that will do is make Arguello mad. Now he'll go to work on it some more.
That's exactly what he did. He came back with a solid left, right behind it.
I try to explain how Jim Watt would win this fight, or how he could try harder to win this fight.
Less than 30 seconds to go. Round 14, we're going to be going to Brent Musburger, New York, for a special report on a world record in track and field that took place today. That'll be coming up at the end of this 14th round. Arguello still very much on the attack. Final seconds of the round. Let's go to Brent for a report on this world record in track and field today. Back to New York.
All right, Tim, thank you so much. That world record set today for leads. Go back live to Tim Ryan in London. Tim?
Round number 15. The final round, and the crowd here trying to pull it out for Jim Watt. Unless they think he's ahead, and you would have to be among the most prejudiced of fans to see that or feel that way. But again, we caution that the judges may have a totally different view of this fight. We've got Arguello practically pitching a shutout.
Tim, for the crowd to pull it out for Jim Watt, they'd have to get in the ring with him and help him right now.
Yeah, that's the way we feel about it anyway.
And they're trying to do just exactly that. The whole crowd is chanting, Jim Watt, Jim Watt.
Well, I think they're chanting for him because of the courage. I mean, he's really been bleeding heavily for the last 4 or 5 rounds, and he hung in there, Sean. I think that's why they're cheering.
He is a very courageous fighter.
They're great fans here at Great Britain. They really support their fighters. They haven't had a great number of champions, but they've enjoyed a few in the last couple of years, and perhaps they feel they're going to lose another one as they lost Morris Hope a few weeks back, Alan Minter, Johnny L. Gardner are their hope for the heavyweight championship, badly beaten the other night. And they perhaps feel a Watt title slipping away.
Jim Watt has got a bloody nose. He's got a cut in his upper lip on the inside.
Well, he's taking a shot at it now. He tried to call a couple of straight left hands, but they just don't have anything in them.
And he has taken too much punishment to this point. Both of his eyes are swelled up. He's got a cut underneath the left eye.
We're in the final round. Tim Ryan with Gil Clancy, WBA champion Sean O'Grady. And it would appear that Alexis Arguello is en route to becoming the 6th man in boxing history to win 3 titles in 3 different weight divisions. Unless the judges have a totally different view.
There go the fans cheering again for 2 missed Watt punches. They're just cheering for him for courage, I think. Unless they can't see what I'm seeing.
Under a minute to go in the fight. Another right hand lands from the challenger.
Good right hand underneath by Arguello. Watt's a trooper. He's still there.
There's that good right jab again. Still hasn't used it as much as I predicted he would.
Under 30 seconds to go in the fight. Jim Watt, known as a game competitor, showing it here again in defense of his title.
Well, he's finishing well, as they say in Britain, Tim.
So is Alexis Arguello.
He is finishing very well, and as I talked about the final few seconds that the judges remember, he is flurrying here.
Final seconds of the fight as Watt throws that last left hook, and it is all over. And embraced by these 2 fine competitors are 2 of the finest gentlemen in boxing today. They genuinely have fondness and respect for each other. There you see Alexis Arguello with a handshake for the local promoter, Mickey Duff, and embraces for the champion, Jim Watt, as we await the decision. The ring announcer, Bernard O'Sullivan, will have it from the judges, Robert Degain of Belgium, Kurt Oscar Halbach of West Germany, Dick Young of Los Angeles. Ascot coverage tomorrow on CBS Sports Sunday, and we invite you to join us again tomorrow. Speedway motorcycle action, the World Speedway Motorcycle event, and that's coming up on CBS Sports Sunday tomorrow. So again, another big day on CBS Sports as we await this decision in the WBC Lightweight Championship.
Very interesting fight. Arguello, only 1 knockdown. That was by Arguello in the 6th round. Here's some of the action from round 7.
Round 7 is where the knockdown occurred, and I think we're going to see it again. Sean, let's watch for that left hand from Arguello on the right.
Notice how low that the left hand or the right hand of Jim Watt is, and there was the left hook. Arguello shifted his way to that left hook, and around it came, and it landed right on the chin. There it is. 1-2, and he came back with the right hand. The right hand missed, but it shows what a good combination puncher that Arguello is.
Alexis Arguello, former featherweight champion of the world, WBA version, former WBC super featherweight champion, going for the WBC lightweight championship. We're still awaiting the decision here. Here it is.
The judges' scores are as follows. Dick Young scores 147 for Arguello, 137.
One vote for Arguello.
Judge Desquin scores 147 for Arguello, 143 for Watt. Judge 147 for Arguello, 143 for Watt.
A unanimous decision for the new WBC lightweight champion, Alexis Arguello of Nicaragua, lifting the title from Jim Watt. And for Gil Clancy and Sean O'Grady, this is Tim Ryan saying goodnight from the Wembley Arena in London, England, returning you to New York.
Sports Saturday has been a presentation of CBS Sports. This is CBS.
I packed my buddies in here 20 miles and all they brought is light beer. You ever taste light beer?
This is Coors Light. It's a surprising taste of Coors Light.
Not bad.
It comes from pure Rocky Mountain spring water and high country barley.
Hey, that's good.
And a way of brewing that's...
Okay, good. Where's them scissors? You got them? Yeah. You got them.
For the fourth time is the championship of the world. 15 rounds. Introducing in the blue corner, former Olympian and Texas lightweight champion with a professional record of 27-3, 22 by knockout,